Good afternoon. My name is Grace LaRochelle, and this is my leadership presentation on Marilyn Borgendale for the class of Leadership in Libraries and Information Centers for Valdosta State University. For this class, I was able to speak with Marilyn Borgendale, who is the Systems Administrator for the GMILCS Consortium in New Hampshire. She met with me for an interview on June 24th, 2019. I'm very thankful that Marilyn has agreed to answer personal and professional questions for this interview and gave me permission to use this content for my essay and my presentation. Marilyn Borgendale has worked in libraries for over 20 years. She attended the University of Minnesota to earn the MA in Library Science after earning a bachelor's in English some years before. After she realized that working in libraries was her goal, Marilyn moved to Baltimore and became a part-time evening serials librarian. She became involved in the Maryland Library Association, and she then moved to Chicago to work as a library facilities manager. From there, it was a very natural step for her to take a position in tech in training librarian, and finally to her current position as systems administrator for the GMILCS Consortium. This consortium has proved to be a big step for her in becoming a leader. Not only is she a leader within the GMILCS Consortium, but she also has been a leader in the New Hampshire Library Association. Marilyn's leadership style is, in her own words, autocratic. She explained to me that when she's part of any group, she likes to jump in, make sure everybody has their role cut out for them and is fulfilling their role. However, when I talked to her more in depth about her work in NHLA, the New Hampshire Library Association, and also within the GMILCS Consortium, which stands for Greater Manchester Integrated Library Cooperative System, a regional system of about 12 libraries, she told me about some examples that actually proved to be more transactional. She's very interested in feedback and coaching, getting to know those that she's working with, and making sure that those roadblocks that have been a part of their work are removed. And she also described how it's so important to ask questions, to remove the roadblocks, to work through on a level that the committees can understand and can be a part of. When Marilyn first became president of NHLA, which she was not interested in doing, she realized that she was going to have to prioritize, set goals, and articulate her vision. All of these skills are part of being an effective leader, as Padilla explains, and she really likes to make sure that everybody was getting the feedback and the coaching that they needed to succeed. Though she didn't want to be president of NHLA, she was asked to by somebody who thought she would be great in the organization, and so she did fulfill the role of vice president, president, and then past president, as it is a 3-year position in NHLA. Some of her goals included attending all the meetings of the sections of NHLA. This includes the technology group. This includes CLNH, which is the Children's Librarians of New Hampshire. She was interested in accountability, coming back from the NHLA executive board, from the officers and the presidents of the sections and committee chairs. She wanted to make meetings longer. She wanted people to take their time on making decisions. And she wanted to make a stronger presence for NHLA on Facebook and in the website. She was also interested in creating a statewide advocacy day for libraries, but she wasn't able to fulfill all of these goals. She fulfilled most of them except for the statewide advocacy day. Unfortunately, when the attack on IMLS happened a few years ago, it was right when she'd become president. And so when I was speaking with her, she mentioned that a really big part of being a leader is simply knowing that sometimes the environment is going to change and that you need to be responsive to that environment, as Padilla also notes. She reorganized her priorities, and although she didn't get that statewide advocacy day, she did get to connect more with the advocacy committee, which is a part of NHLA, and she was able to let everybody know in the state more about the attack on IMLS, and everybody took action with her. Of course, there are many issues and challenges that come with being a leader. A lot of how Marilyn faced these issues was through feedback and coaching with her transactional leadership style. She improved these challenges and issues that she came up against with thoughtful discussion. She asks questions and isn't afraid to ask all the questions that might potentially remove roadblocks for her followers. She faced a few difficult situations throughout her time as president and vice president of NHLA. There were lots of committees that didn't meet ever except for electronically. And there were chairs of some committees that had been in that position for a very long time. She decided to tackle the Continuing Education Committee. They administered grants, but there was no transparency for the rest of the state. No one knew who was receiving the grants, and a lot of people didn't even know about the opportunities that were available to them because it wasn't widely publicized. This ties in with her wanting to make a better Facebook presence for NHLA. She decided she would ask the chair of the committee to step down because they had been there for so many years, and she'd heard from others throughout the state that they were interested in joining but felt that they couldn't. Although this was a difficult choice for her, she decided to make it, and because of her actions, another person on the committee also left. However, she wanted to get new life into the committee, and now the committee is looking for new opportunities and is thriving with new members. Another challenge that she's faced as part of GMILKS is that Polaris has been implemented, and there have been big changes in infrastructure for the ILS. It's a time-consuming project, and she has spoken to the board of GMILKS, and they worked through this together and went through a migration, which was a giant project. And now it is all up and running, and she has more time to go back to her committees and being a part of NHLA once again. The last thing that Marilyn and I spoke about was succession planning. How do you leave NHLA? How do you leave GMILKS with the groundwork for the next person who's coming in? How do we prepare for succession planning? The successor is not necessarily going to make all the same decisions that Marilyn did, but she has been invested in creating a space for her successor. She has left her mark and developed organizations in striking ways that leaves more for the future librarians of New Hampshire. Thank you so much for listening to my presentation, and I look forward to speaking more with everyone in the discussion post. Thank you so much, and a big thanks to Marilyn Borgendale.